Welcome to the Facerocker Podcast number 67, a very special Facerocker podcast because it's just me and Dez.
Hey,
that's just us.
it's just you and me, and it's just us.
We have much to discuss. Sundance happened, Snapchat, all kinds of stuff. We regale us with stories.
Kind of a rundown of everything that's happening right now.
Hey, listen, Dez, don't sell it so hard. Let the people get excited for it, all right? Stay tuned. Here it comes. Facerocker Podcast coming at you. Welcome, everybody, to yet another Facerocker Podcast, a very special one.
What's
because
that?
Dez and I are the only two people here. We're going to be dueling, going mano a mano, face to face, and hopefully we're going to actually do a little experiment. We're going to see if Desmond, Dolly, and Freddie Wong are entertaining enough on their own to carry this podcast. Because if we happen to be, well, I think there's going to be some changes in terms of the podcast staff. We can get rid of half of the people on here. Just cut the dead weight, you know what I mean?
That's what I've been saying for the last 2 years.
That's a good call, Des. So we need to start this week's podcast very quick with a little apology.
Wait, what? What are we apologizing for?
We have to apologize to the good people of Provo, Utah. Have you heard what happened?
Yes, I did, but let's fill everyone in. It was
Okay, so last week we started, the good first half hour of the podcast was just Matt going off on the Provo flag, which, if you don't remember, was this. We'll show the image here. The Provo flag. Oh boy,
I think it started with us critiquing
flags.
City,
well, we learned
state
that
flags,
we learned
city
that every
flags.
city has a flag. Chicago has a baller flag, and Provo, Utah, has arguably the worst flag we've ever seen.
Right.
Unbelievably, the day after we post that podcast, two things happened. Number one, people were kind enough to point out that Provo had in fact changed their flag for many of the reasons that we had outlined on that podcast. They're like, okay, you guys are right.
You guys nailed it.
And we changed our flag. So they changed their flag to what it is now, and we'll show an image of that, which is, again, falls right in line on par with, well, every other state flag. It's just like, any other flag there. But two, we found out that the guy who made the flag died.
That day. The day the podcast was posted.
And we were just ripping on this thing, and they're like, hey, the guy who designed that flag originally just died.
You mean the guy that
of like complications of, a cancer, I think, or anyway. So
and we're on the podcast saying, what is it? Who's the guy who designed this thing?
They
changed
They
the flag.
changed the flag, and that guy died.
We're attacking the flag creator on the day of his death, unbeknownst to us.
We didn't know this. We didn't.
Terrible.
It came out because, again, these podcasts come out a little bit later after we record them.
Right.
Anyway, so the funny thing about that is in that article about his death, it actually explained why the flag is the way it is, which is the flag is the way it is, believe it or not, because, you ready for this?
Tell me.
He made it as part of a marketing presentation in the 80s, and it just stuck. So it was originally a PowerPoint graphic that he used, and everyone just mistook it. They're like, okay, we're just going to use this for the flag. It was not his decision. He was not a graphic designer. He was a council member.
Somebody just grabbed the... It's he put this together as part of a PowerPoint presentation in the 80s, and then someone just grabbed the TIFF file and printed out the flag.
TIFF is I wouldn't go TIFF. I would assume it's a progressive JPEG. Is
You
probably
think
what
so?
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that you can encode? This is gonna get nerdy. This is what's gonna happen. Was just me and Des. Freddie's just gonna go down.
No, let me talk about
central.
compression, image compression.
Anyway, so I know Matt felt super bad.
Well,
about
I
it.
mean,
And really quick, just to
that's why Matt's not here today. He didn't want to come on
need
and
to hang out with his lady.
No,
Well,
I'm
okay,
kidding.
so that be said, Stephen Hales, former council member of Provo, designer of the original flag, I'm sure a fantastic gentleman. We're sorry that we made fun of the work that was accidentally attributed to you, and we're sorry that you're dead. There, how's that?
That was a bit insincere.
What? No, it's true. It's true. We were anyway. So that's what happened with the Provo flag. Sorry about that. People did send in some very amazing bad state flags, of which again, it's what they got the college grad students doing. The reason why no one else is here, by the way, is we walked in. I was like, all right, guys, time to do the podcast. Let's do this. And John Carmen is shooting a This Week at RocketJump, which, again, if you haven't been checking out, and there's no reason why you shouldn't, they're on the second channel here, youtube.com/RocketJump2. And it's a fantastic sort of fake behind-the-scenes sort of series about what goes on in the office. He needed everybody for what he's shooting.
So we lost our
our
guest
by the way,
today.
By the way, who's on the logo of the company here, Des? Who is that? Whose outline is out on the logo? Is that me?
It's,
that is me, isn't it?
It's very similar
That's me.
to
Well, guess
your
what?
silhouette.
Oh, guess what?
Yes.
Guess what? No, sorry. Can't have anybody for the podcast.
No.
Anyway,
Mm-mm.
John outranks me here now. Slow.
He does.
Decline.
It's a good show, though. It's on RocketJump, too. People should go watch it.
This show's coming out.
It's fantastic.
This show's coming out. This podcast coming out the week right before the Super Bowl. Am I correct, Benji? Yep.
That is correct.
Coming in right before the Super Bowl.
Who's even in the Super Bowl this year?
Come on now.
Man,
now.
I'm telling you, once the Bears crapped their pants on the season, I stopped watching. I don't know. It's Seahawks and Patriots, right?
Seahawks and Patriots. That's
Patriots,
right.
the cheaters. I love it. That'll be good.
So and yeah, obviously, and so okay. So here's the thing about the Super Bowl, because everyone's like, Freddie, you're such a you're from Seattle, you're jazzed about this, right? I'm like, no. You wanna know why? Because when I was a kid, we had sports teams in Seattle, and again, I'm sure.
Wait, the guy who was
bad.
just talking about PDF compression is not jazzed by sports?
Shocking, I know, right? Well, but here's the thing: Seattle sports for a while sucked. Now, granted, not as bad as I think a lot of other teams in a lot of other places, but it sucked. Sonics were bad. But you had like Sean Kemp and like Detlef Schrempf.
Detlef, yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, never have gotten a name like that.
What
ever
is that,
again.
by the way?
I think it's Eastern European, Croatian maybe. And they sucked. And I remember one time there was a poll. The Seattle PI, which is one of the newspapers in Seattle, did a poll about how many people want the Seattle Sonics to stay in Seattle.
Yeah.
It was right when they were talking about moving. 56% of Seattle, something like that. Over half didn't want them to stay. They're just like, get rid of them. We don't care.
There's a lot of kids, though, that I'm sure that all across America grow up in a town that either doesn't have a team or doesn't have a very good team. That doesn't mean they're not sports fans. So
I just
what
fell
was
out
it
of
really?
Well, no, here's
Freddie?
what it is, because we had good teams. We had like the Huskies. The UW team was good, and the Seahawks sucked. So anyway, I don't care about the Super Bowl, and everyone's getting on my butt for it.
Well, it's because you're just not a football fan. It doesn't have anything to do with you were never a Seattle fan, right?
It makes me feel bad. Jimmy,
It's a big deal for your brother Jimmy.
Jimmy explains the rules of the game to me like I'm his 12-year-old son, and he's my dad. And I'm like, Dad, what happened? I don't understand. What's a touchback? 2-point conversion. Why don't they just do that every time?
I don't know. Super
Why
Bowl
are they kicking it?
It's a thing everyone watches. I would get excited.
4th and
if my
2, I
team
go
were
for
in,
that.
but-
That's why I'm not a football coach.
Yeah, I don't know.
Every time, go for it.
We'll see. I'm not excited about this game. Not. I
So
don't have a horse in this race. What am I going to say?
So here's the horse that I have in this race. Okay, so YouTube's doing a live show. We're gonna get real personal here. We're gonna get real detailed. YouTube's doing a live show this weekend.
You may have seen this in the trades.
So they're doing a live show this weekend, and we as part of this we did a video that you directed, Dez. That's coming out the next Monday or in a few days here, and. Another part of this is where I'm a co-host on this live show. Now,
Who are your fellow co-hosts?
Harley's on there. Toby Turner's going to be there. Rhett and Link are going to be there. It's a real murderer's row of people who look handsome on camera, of course. Not counting myself in that at all. But
you guys going to talk about modes of PDF compression and other?
Oh yeah, dude, it'd be gripping. Okay, so here's the thing. All right, I'm gonna go on a rant here for a little bit.
Right.
Okay, PR is something. It's a necessary evil here in Hollywood, and there's
self-promotion.
Well, especially, and you need that. You need it definitely, and we're really bad at it. We're awful.
Oh, we're terrible
at being hype men for ourselves. It's why It's why nobody, a lot of stuff like, hey, this is pretty cool, and nobody cares about, because you have to, at some point, you have to understand, this is a very important skill to learn, kids listening and people out there. It's a very important skill to learn. Learn at least a little bit how to promote yourself without being, overly, without seeming too sincere about, without being too hardcore into loving yourself. You don't be a braggart. But you need to at least be able to, because no one else is rooting for you. You need to be able to put yourself out there a little bit.
Exactly.
And we don't do that.
Champion yourself.
We're horrible at that, So, and I can't, obviously, big organization PR is one thing, smaller company PR is another thing, but so big organization PR. So YouTube decided to take this tact in terms of advertising this show on Sunday. They're going to go head to head with the Super Bowl halftime show.
How many people watch the Super Bowl halftime show?
Everybody watching the Super Bowl, more or less.
So how many millions? That's tens of millions or hundreds of millions?
Tens of millions of people are watching that. and going
lots
to the
of
bathroom.
tens, I
But,
believe,
like,
in the high tens.
But like what is, like and they're like, and so then that week, as a result, we got so many press inquiries from people who read that and they're like, oh, YouTube's going head to head with the halftime show for the Super Bowl. Like, and then they had a quote from a YouTube person being like, we'll see how Freddie Wong's draw compares to Katy Perry. You don't have to fucking do shit. You want to be right? Guess what? You want my draws compare to Katy Perry? Dick shit. It's fucking
it's
nothing.
dick and shit.
It's nothing.
We already know this. Why
It's
do we have to
relatively
run
nothing.
this
It's comparing a planet to a fucking ant. Like how? And then. So here's the thing. Then, as a result of that, we're getting calls left and right from NBC, KTLA, all these news outlets wanting to be like, "Can we talk to Freddie about what?"
Freddie, how do you think you'll fare against Katy Perry in the Super Bowl?
I talked to NPR, and I was like, "Okay, so here's the thing." Like,
who did you talk to at NPR?
some dude at Marketplace, and
Okay.
I love NPR. Like, it's one of those things where, and the reason why I love NPR, I'll tell you why. Because anything that we do, nobody reads about. Nobody back home reads Variety. Nobody back home reads Hollywood
absolutely,
Reporter.
right.
Nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
But I come from super hippie, commie, liberal Seattle,
Right.
where every Volvo station wagon is tuned at 94.9, the NPR station, nonstop.
Oh, yeah.
And as a
all the
result,
shortcuts on FM1 and FM2
So as
are
a
tuned
res-
into NPR.
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. And so as a result, the only time that anybody ever will hear about kind of know about what's going on in my life back home, like my parents or like my parents' friends, so that my parents can kind of like brag to their friends a little bit, is when anything happens on NPR. So when Jimmy, for example, did the Ching Chong like response song
Right.
A few years ago, he got interviewed on NPR. That's what everyone was calling him about, was for that NPR bit that he did. So I was like, okay, NPR, I'll talk to NPR. And I got down this phone as a reporter, and this guy is like, he was pushing so hard to try and be like, so this rivalry thing, right? So what do you think? You think you guys stand a chance? And the whole
Since
time,
when has it? What rivalry?
well, that's the thing. That's what YouTube came out with. YouTube came out with, hey, we're gonna go head to head against the Super Bowl halftime show. It's like, good luck.
But a rival, I guess. Does rivalry not imply some sort of prior history?
Oh, well, it's a showdown of sorts, right? Because they're
Yeah.
like, well, kids are gonna watch stuff online. And it's like, this is so dumb. Well, and so the whole time this interview, I was just like being realistic. I was like, well, I mean, look, people can watch both. It's not on competing channels. And I was like, oh, I even threw like, I considered a good joke, which I was like, oh, we may be going up against the Super Bowl halftime show, but we're also going up against the Puppy Bowl halftime show and the Fish Bowl halftime show. And it was dead silent the other end. The guy's like, sorry, what's that?
The what? What'd you say?
Yeah, you know what the Puppy Bowl is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and then I was just like, what? It's competing Super Bowl programming. Come on, I'm making it relevant. No good. Anyway, so there's this whole thing, and then people still.
So are these the kinds of jokes that we can expect to see this Sunday on
my gosh.
your live
Yeah, ladies and
halftime show
gentlemen,
competition?
you like some canned wordplay, then you're
dry
in for a treat.
NPR-like humor on the alt
Well, here,
programming
there's a
to
mic. I'll
Katy
definitely
Perry.
get really close
If you
to
guys
it.
can't stand Katy Perry or any of her rad
But it's like,
songs,
why would you? It's like, I would watch that. It's like, if you even went to me, like, would you watch Freddie talk about ads, or you want to watch Katy Perry sing? I'll take Katy Perry.
You know what? I feel like maybe YouTube decided to do this.
My point is, whoever came up with that stupid PR move, fuck you, man. Like,
that's just
actively making my life worse.
serious foot and mouth situation
I
there.
hate that, because here's what's gonna happen. It's just everyone's gonna be like, well, how did they do? YouTube's not gonna say anything because they probably didn't do that. They're not gonna do that good, frankly, because everyone's watching the damn Super Bowl, and that's that.
I don't think counter programming to Super Bowl is a bad idea necessarily. Some people,
No, I agree.
You
I mean, that's
know?
why the Puppy Bowl works. The Puppy Bowl is
absolutely,
incredibly
counter
popular.
programming is a good idea, but to say that it will stomp Katy Perry,
Well,
global
no, but
superstar.
even them being like, let's see how the
Come on.
draw compares. They're like, you don't need to see it, guys. You don't need to wait until Sunday. You don't need to hold your breath. I'll tell you it right now. It's not going to compare. Period. Done.
It's not the same thing. We're not even playing. We're not even talking the same sport here.
Anyway, and I don't know how. And it's like I keep getting. I don't know. This is, and Dez, I think this is a personal. This really is. I think
This has been
personal-
happening to you a lot.
This is my fault. This really is my fault. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot
Getting
who
involved in
deserves-
these hosting events, Freddie. When did you become host extraordinaire? How did this happen?
This is not what I dreamed of. I wanted to just make movies.
He's a movie guy. Now you're
Yeah.
host guy.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Anyway, so that's what's going. Anyway, if you guys want to tune in on Sunday for this,
I know, right? I mean, now everyone's like, I don't
No,
know
I
if
think
I
it's-
want to see this,
but
or
no,
maybe
no, it's not
everyone's
that, it's not
thinking,
that.
Freddie.
hold on.
Yeah.
It's not that like don't tune in. It's gonna be bad. It's not going to be the same thing. And plus, it's online, guys. You don't have to. Like, you can watch both. You have a laptop, you have a tablet, you have a phone. You can watch Katy Perry do her thing. You can watch us do our thing at the same time. It's like, it's not competition.
Right.
But YouTube try to make it into a competition, and I don't understand that. I just don't understand what the point of that was.
It's a strange thing.
So I just came downstairs from the writers' room for the Hulu show that we're doing, and Mike related to us a game that he played. Well, it's not really much of a game, but it was an exercise as English teacher forced everyone in the class to do that I want to try with you, Des.
Okay.
And it's an incredibly difficult exercise.
Oh, great. Fantastic.
Here's the exercise.
Let's do it.
We have in our speech commonly, we will resort to words like,
yes.
Sort of holding words, right? And they're not good. They make you sound dumb.
Correct.
And most people in their speech, especially if you're trying to improve your speech, will seek to eliminate those words. So the game is as follows. I'm going to start a timer, and for 1 minute, and I'm going to give you a topic, I'm going to start a timer. And for 1 minute straight, you have to talk about that topic without talking slowly. You have to talk at a normal pace and try not to say at any point, like.
I've played a version of this game.
Yeah?
Every time you go to Subway.
Yeah, the Subway game.
The Subway game. You go to Subway, and the trick is to order a sub, get through the entire process without saying like and or ah.
So Ben Waller, actually, I remember, did I tell you this? Ben Waller, like the first time we told him about the Subway game, he was like, Psh, I know this. This is easy. I got this on lock.
You would think it is. It's very difficult.
So he walked up. He was like, this is easy. You guys are insane. This is not hard at all. He walks up to it. And then the person was like,
what can I make for you?
Well, no. That's not the first question I asked. The first question she asked was, what kind of bread do you want? And he goes, and I was like, you didn't even say a word.
You didn't get word one. Fail.
He lost immediately. It's really difficult because what happens then is you start being like really intense about your sandwich.
Yes.
You just become,
every word is deliberate.
You go really slow and you're like, I want.
See, those don't
tomatoes
count.
and
but
onions.
Ers are not good either.
But you become that, and then what's funny is by the time you finish, you're just like, I didn't want this sandwich. I didn't order half the things I didn't even want on this.
There was a girl that I went to school with, and it was in 6th grade in particular, where our teacher basically had to beat the likes out of her vocabulary.
Wait, your teacher physically assaulted a student? That's
physically
fucked
assaulted.
Up.
No, verbally assaulted her basically until she just would not say like anymore. It was bad though. You could not understand.
Was she hitting
anything?
Like, like everything before every word? She's gonna be just nonstop.
Nothing, nonstop. Couldn't understand what she was talking about.
So what I found is I've tried to do this, and I'm not really doing it here because I'm being a little more conversational, but especially in sort of public speaking and that sort of thing, I try and if I'm not using like or what I do instead, I found is I have like holding pattern phrases.
Sure.
Phrases that
such as
I'll resort such as for instance, you know is actually a bad one too, but I have holding pattern phrases which are bad. There I go. And what I found is if you just don't say anything, because you hit it's commas in your thought. You're trying to figure out where you're going with what you're saying. If you don't say anything and you resort to silence, in your head that silence lasts much longer
forever
than it seems out in the real world. And radio people do this all the time. And this is a well-established radio technique, which is to say a phrase, give a pause, and allow that to dictate the pace of your speech. And it doesn't necessarily sound like it sounds better than like, okay? Mm-hmm. So anyway, here we go. I'm going to give you a topic.
Okay.
You have 1 minute.
No, I'm kidding.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
Right. We tried it downstairs. Some people just failed out immediately in that way. We hit Jake with mid-90s basketball, which he's like wearing a Bull sweatshirt.
Sure.
And he goes, so
that's great.
There. Okay.
All right. Well, you might catch me off guard with a topic, and I'll fail immediately. We'll see. Okay. I will step up to the occasion.
High school wrestling. Go.
High school wrestling. I know a bit about this topic, as I was a high school wrestler back in Mishawaka, Indiana.
Pace is a little slow.
98.
A little slow.
You didn't say anything about
pace. No, you have to speak at a normal pace.
Speaking at a normal pace is a little.
Oh, there it is.
Yep,
right
there it is. Yep.
There we go. Benji, get up here. Get up here, Benji.
Benji, come on, you gotta try this. It's difficult, especially when you know you're being timed and it's part of a contest. Because you're more self-conscious.
But don't think about that. Just think about
with a little more practice. I think you could do that.
Yeah. On
I'm just
a topic.
talking and I can't pause or use us.
No,
or
you can pause. You can pause, but no holding pattern words. No likes. Those types of common sort of things.
Really weird subject.
I'm trying to think about like
a big quick one.
Okay, ready? The Civil War.
The Civil War is fantastic historical stuff to learn about. I actually one time got to go to Antietam Battlefield, which is famous because the most soldiers.
Yeah. It's difficult.
It took what? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see?
Thanks, Bench.
But I'd recommend it. It's actually a fantastic game. It's a good way of learning how to at least sound a little bit more controlled and measured in your speech. Here, give me a topic, ready? I'm okay at this one, actually.
All right. Amateur magic.
Amateur magic. Magic is an art where people try and fool you with techniques such as sleight of hand, card manipulation, trick decks, trick shuffling. The goal of the magician is to make the other person fooled by their techniques. See, already it's getting, and also it's getting
so
like, and what's incredible about this?
It's staccato.
Real quick, what's incredible about this? You start to speak at a 3rd grade level.
You sound
like
crazy.
You sound insane. Let me keep going. I heard the and I caught it right as it was coming out. It's a difficult game.
It's hard. Try the subway game. Challenge people to the subway game. That's a fun exercise.
I'll tell you this. Here's the exercise. We are not sponsored by Subway, by the way, but here's the exercise for this week, podcast listeners. Take your phone. Everyone's got one of these now, and everyone's got a video recorder on their phone. Head over to your local Subway for lunch one of these days. Record a video of you playing and passing the Subway game. Send it to us at RocketJump Tweet, and we'll pick. Benji, how many people we pick out of that?
How many could we?
Yeah, well, here's what. Send it to us. We will buy you whatever game you want on Steam. How's that? Okay. It's like a $50 game.
That's pretty good.
Not bad.
Maybe we'll throw in a. There we go.
Here's what it is. To the first person who sends a video. To the first person to send us a video of them playing the Subway game and winning, we'll get a Steam game of their choice. You got to tweet the video over, upload to YouTube, tweet the video over to RocketJump Tweet, and there you go. And then you're going to get a free game, courtesy us, and courtesy your ability to speak with clarity and poise in a public environment. How's that?
Poise.
Anyway, so that's
how did that come up?
Well, it was
just something you guys were
talking
talking about
we
earlier.
Were just talking about earlier, and it was fun. It's very difficult.
Once you point it out, then you can't stop hearing it and thinking about it.
Oh no,
it
we've
completely
cursed
about
the rest of this. I've cursed the rest of this podcast. I should wait till the end because now
I'm thinking about
all you're thinking about is this, and now we can't come up with good topics to come up.
And now
with.
Anyone who's listening, that's all they're going to think about every time we say like.
But you know what? You know what? Maybe that's what you should be thinking about, man. Maybe that's what you should be thinking about. You ever think about that? So I want to talk a little bit right now about Snapchat.
Why? What's up with Snapchat?
So Snapchat just released a big fatty update.
I know, I saw that. Do you use Snapchat?
I do. We do it. We have here we go.
No, I mean, I know we have a RocketJump Snapchat now.
Oh, to communicate with people.
Yeah. Do you use Snapchat? I
don't use Snapchat to communicate with people.
Do you even physically have your own account?
I do have my own account. I do have my own
Freddie
account.
Wong snaps.
I do have my own account.
Yeah.
And I don't really sort of use that. And we do have a Snapchat account. It's Rocket_Jump on Snapchat for the 12 of you who care about that. So go ahead and add us if you haven't already. And what's funny about Snapchat is, so it started off, right, as essentially what I see it as the premier anonymous pornography distribution method for
That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
Because that's what it was. It's like what started off was just like, okay, because one,
people are wondering, wait, what? What are you talking about?
Well, but here's the thing, right? Because like I think a lot of people our age, and it's weird to speak in these terms, but a lot of people our age feel like they don't get Snapchat. It's like, no, there's nothing to get about Snapchat. It's very simple.
It's what's there to get?
Yeah, well, exactly. So you start off with it, and you text people. And kids obviously don't want their parents reading their text or knowing that they're texting. So a program that will delete your text 24 hours after you send it, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Mom and dad don't know what I'm saying. I can talk freely to my friends. And then I can also send pictures. They disappear in 24 hours. They let you know if you save it. So obviously kids are sexting nudes to each other nonstop, which is always hilarious to me to read about these stories where it's like there was a nude sexting ring broken up at this high school.
Ring.
And it was like, I remember just being like, I could play Snake on my mom's Nokia. You're telling me kids? Like, I remember pornography. Pornography was a 56K modem. If someone picked up the phone and interrupted it, and it was a progressively Here we go. Back at the beginning of the podcast. A progressively encoded JPEG. So it would you know what I'm talking about?
Nice callback.
It would load like a mosaic.
Yeah, sure.
One like little bit at a time. That's what I grew up with. And then you just hear it was like, yeah, kids will just send nude pictures of themselves constantly to all of their
snapping
friends.
them all over the place.
And it's just like, man, technology just picked the
I
wrong
can't imagine
time.
what it must be like to be in high school right now.
Well, I can
all
tell
this
you,
technology, it's got to be
nuts.
just a crazy
well,
time.
Well, I know a lot of teachers will say kids can't, use their phones in class. They'll put them in their locker. Anyway, so obviously it became that, and so what Snapchat realizes because they have millions and millions and millions and millions of people, and it's like, well, we're gonna do these millions of people. Well, okay, we can become a video platform. We kind of already are, and they tried stuff with stories and things like that. And people are already kind of watching other users and their Snapchat Power users. So that's the thing. They started doing
disposable stories. How do you think the disposability actually affects storytelling?
Well, it's a good question, right? Because there's really not much that is truly disposable and disappearing. A lot of the stuff, like I'm trying to think of examples of this. So I would argue, for example, like the 3-panel comic or the Sunday comic is maybe the closest thing that you have, because that's something that would eventually be collected in a compilation by that artist. But after Sunday, and to be fair, it lasts forever on that newspaper, but the newspaper's always getting updated. There's always a new newspaper. So that after that Sunday, you're not really reading that comic. It's almost disposable in that sense. And I think it's a very viable form of entertainment, and of course, arguably the most disposable form of entertainment. And by disposable, I mean cannot be experienced again after you've experienced it once. Would be like live theater, live performance, right? Because that would be unique to that one time, and there's something special about that. So it's compelling, obviously, for that.
It makes it an event.
Yeah, and then I think Snapchat Stories, for example, they have the thing where they'll geofence an event. So they'll do like College Game Day, they'll do a football game, and then they'll collect anyone within the stadium, their snaps, and play it as a story. So you can watch like everyone's like POVs.
That's fascinating.
Throughout that, and they were and so that's something that they do, and it's like that's also.
How do you prevent the
sports.
guy from slipping in the dick pic? Is there a way
I think
to comb those?
They on their end, I guarantee you, are looking through it and making sure that no dick pics get through. If it hits a critical mass of dick pics, they let one through.
Yeah,
I guess it's an important thing to be able to get to a critical mass. But other than that, no dick pics.
But they got this new thing going on.
Yeah, so they have stories, and we're going to be doing something with. I'm going to be doing something with Corridor Digital. They're directing Snapper Hero, which Harley also is going to be in this.
Love those guys.
Yeah. So, but it was always just interesting to me how reading the reactions of people or Snapchat being like, I don't get this, and it's weird for us because we started on YouTube. And there's all these new video platforms. Like Instagram's video, Vine is 6-second video, Snapchat has video on it. And for us to be like, well, what are we trying to focus on? What are we doing? And do we just go to all these platforms? And if we do, what do they serve and what purpose do they serve for us? So for the moment, Snapchat is basically the most raw, unfiltered BTS from the moment that you can get from the stuff that we do. So, I think, we're going to be doing a lot of, the stuff for the shoots and the shows and the stuff going on at the office. But Snapchat was just one of those things where, yeah, it really just blows my mind how many people they have. And the other sort of concept that keeps going through my mind is a lot about, like, we started in 2010, and it's 2015 now, so it's 5 years since we started. And 5 years, that's from high school. If you're a freshman, you're going from freshman to freshman. You're going from high school to college. Or if you're in college, you're going from freshman to graduating college. And it's a whole new group of people now in high school. And the people that were attracted to what we were doing in 2010, 2011, 2012 are older, way older, and that age group is a totally new set of people now. And it's the whole question of, do you age up with them? Do you like sort of hold them in place, and you have content for them in place? Anyways, there's a lot. We do a lot of thinking about platforms and things like that.
It's a fun platform. I like the dogma-esque restrictions that it puts on you.
I like the vertical video.
Yeah,
exhibition form factor.
No, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. Absolutely. I think the Snapper Hero thing could be really interesting. I'm curious to see what Sam and Nico at Corridor do with their segment.
Dez.
And Snapchat entirely.
You ever sexted?
Sexted?
Yeah, sexted.
Like sending
like a
sexy texts.
Sexy text.
Yeah, I have done that. Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't even think.
I've got a special lady friend in my life, and yeah, we send.
Oh, you get like down dirty in textual form, like straight up William Shakespeare style.
Our relationship originally started out long distance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was
like, were you sending like letters and like a wax seal that you would like hit and use U.S. Postal Service send along? Like you'd write in longhand by candlelight with a quill.
No, just
No?
all digital, baby.
All digital.
All digi.
Doesn't count. You got like Skype and stuff. You can actually go face to face. But it's always funny to me because there's what it is I think I'm always interested by like the levels of abstraction that we place between like human beings place between like in sexuality. So you can start off with it's like okay, the deed, which is like as direct as you can get, but then it just goes down that list. And
I'm
to
just
me,
thinking. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm just thinking like God, my parents listen to these sometimes. We never really talk about this kind of stuff on here. It's awkward. I know my girlfriend's parents are probably listening to this too. So
this is a very
now,
theoretical.
no, they're all here.
It's
They're
very
all here.
theoretical discussion.
They're all
here.
here. Let's
Here's
just
theoretical discussion. Here's theoretical
Yeah.
discussion because you go from like actual sexuality all the way down to I feel like you can't get any more distant than text messaging. I don't know. Like to me, it's like you might as well. Like, is there emoticon based?
Yes.
Which ones would you use? I've seen the emoticons.
Eggplant.
Airplane.
Airplane.
Heart.
Poop.
Airplane.
Happy poops. No, I don't know.
That's what I want to see. I want to see someone do an entire like emoticon chain of just like what would be the future in 20 years? Two teenagers sexting each other as just emoticons, and just like this is undecipherable.
I've seen Jordan Peele tell some pretty great stories entirely with emoticons. It's fantastic.
The most incredible one I've seen was someone did all of Journey's "Don't Stop Believin'."
Oh, that's
with
great.
the available Apple emoticons. Like they had small town girl, and then it's like single thing world. Like
Yeah.
it was amazing.
That's great.
More thrilling emoticon stories when we come back here after the break. Thanks for sticking with us. How are we doing so far? Let us know on Twitter. Des, what are you on Twitter?
I'm at Des Dolly with
Let
a
Des
Z.
know how you think about his extemporaneous speaking abilities and me. Anyway, we'll be back in just a second. I want to tell you guys about a little contest that we're running with Red Rock Micro.
Red Rock Micro makes a lot of really cool stuff. Camera gear,
Camera cages, support systems, accessories,
rods.
follow focuses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty much anything to take your camera from, I don't know, just something that you just got out of a box.
From Jank City
From
to
Jank
Indie Pro.
Yeah, you kit it out. We use their stuff all the time. It was on VGHS, all of our shorts, handles, follow focuses. Swear by their stuff. Fantastic cinema gear, and
And we're going to be giving some of that away.
Oh yeah, here's your chance, by the way, to win an Ultra Cage Field Cinema bundle. All right, you can throw pretty much any camera into it. It's worth $1,200.
$1,200.
You might be asking me right now, hey, Des,
Hey,
Freddie,
Yeah.
how do I get this thing?
Yeah.
What do I gotta do?
How do you get this thing? Well, it's simple.
Right, you gotta make a 15-second Instagram or YouTube video advertising Napalm Energy Drink.
Napalm
from
Energy Drink.
VGHS. A lot of our graphics and stuff that you can use for that are available on our website, RocketJump.com. Make a 15-second video, put it online, tag it with
Hashtag new napalm.
New Napalm, and like the Red Rock Micro Facebook page. Link in the description below and right here, and you get your chance at a $1,200 cinema bundle. You can kickstart your filmmaking
Ultra
career there.
Cage Field Cinema Bundle. Man, that thing sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want that?
People who don't like stable footage or being able to handhold properly. Those two people. So head on over to the Red Rock Micro Facebook page. It's at facebook.com/Red Rock Micro and enter for your chance to win a $1,200 Field Cinema bundle. Wrap that camera up.
Ultra Bundle.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. So a lot of people are filtering back right now from Sundance. Alex, actually, Mixmaster Alex, is still at Sundance, I think, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Have you been to
Ashley
Sundance?
Birch, who writes here, just got back. She was telling us about Sundance. I've been twice now, actually. Once when I was at USC, a couple of buddies and I made a road trip. We drove out there,
Really?
which was a total blast.
Do you have any crazy Sundance stories, bro?
You know what? Honestly, no. When you go at that age, if you don't have a film in the contest and you don't do any planning beforehand,
Well, you're boned, right?
you're there's nothing you can do.
Well, because it's
you
just
can't
a-
get
it's
tickets.
just
You
a
can't go
ski
see anything.
resort. It's just
Then
a ski resort.
Exactly. Then you just happen to be in a ski town.
Wait, where did you stay?
We stayed at a friend's house. It was you wouldn't have been able to get a hotel.
No,
There was no
absolutely
prior
not.
planning whatsoever. We just walked up and down the block, that main strip.
Ugh.
It was awful. It was awful. And then we would just pop in and out of restaurants and any of those bars and clubs. And, they have some of those little installations with people talking. So we went to all the free events. Every possible free event Sundance had to offer, we were there. Couldn't see any of the films.
There are more now than there were probably back in the day.
Probably. We would kind of, we were nerdy kids, young kids in film school. So
what was the plan? Were you guys going to be like, oh, we're going to sneak into a movie?
We didn't know. We didn't know anything about Sundance then, other than it was this cool festival, and we wanted to be there. We just had to be there. We were in film school. The next evolution is go to Sundance, not make a movie and get it in. So we went to Sundance and spent 3 days just creeping on celebrities, just following up and down the street. It was very awkward.
So I've been to Sundance only once, and that was last year.
Oh, that's right.
Tie in with the Nintendo, the video that we did with Hey Ash, What You Play, called Gorilla, Gorilla Warfare, I believe. And it was weird.
It was bizarre last year.
I don't want to fill up this podcast with just me talking, although it's kind of going in that direction.
Yeah,
Sorry,
basically.
everybody. But it was bizarre. So we did like
But what was bizarre about it? Though I remember the party. We went to a party. Spent one night at this Nintendo party, and I remember that being bizarre. But Sundance isn't bizarre.
Well, because there's this weird air of celebrity around some of these movies, where these movies, like we saw, I'm not gonna say which ones we saw, but like we saw some movies which were horrible, just unbelievably bad movies. But because someone involved with it was, some name or
such and such celebrity,
yeah, exactly. Everyone was just falling over themselves to talk about how great this movie was. And I was just like this weird groupthink like scenario where everybody was celebrating each other's really just awful crap, and I just couldn't take it.
Well,
man.
do you want to be the one guy in the back going, "Come on, that sucks"?
I feel like those people
you guys
leave.
suck.
I think those people just kind of leave quietly.
Probably no. They go online and write shitty reviews.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is, right? It's like movies are weird, especially big group screenings with strangers, because especially if you're a celebrity or a known person. Like you go out into the lobby and it's just everyone just like slobbing your knob, and then everyone else who actually like has honest opinions about it, they're like, I'm out of here. This sucks,
exactly.
You know what I mean? And you can't. It's just an echo chamber, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was fun because what happens during Sundance is I had heard this tip: nobody skis. Everyone's there for movies and to sit around in dark rooms in the snow and hot tub and stuff, but nobody actually skis. And people ski, but like it's barren. So I heard about this, and I went with Justin, the director at Hey Ash, What You Play? And he and I snowboard. And I was like, yo, let's get some 2-day passes and tear up these slopes. Park City. I've never been to Park
Let's
City.
get some of that fresh powder, bro.
Gotta get that pow, bro.
Pow.
So
this is last year. You guys go snowboarding?
Last year. So I used to ski. Do you ski, snowboard?
Oh no, I'm terrible. Remember we went on that ski trip?
Oh, to Big Bear.
At Big Bear?
Yeah.
I spent most of the day on the bunny hill. I grew up in the Midwest.
Just pizzaing down
It's
that bunny
just
hill.
flat. We didn't have any money, so we couldn't afford ski rental or anything like that. So no, it's just not a thing I grew up doing, and now I feel like I've completely missed that boat. My body just can't handle it.
So I started out skiing, and I did snowboarding. Snowboarding's fine because you have basically 1 year.
Is snowboarding harder, more or less difficult than skiing?
Yeah, a little bit, because
I feel like it also depends on the person you ask, because I've asked that question, and I always get a different answer.
It's harder, and here are the reasons why. One, your first year spent snowboarding is a wash. You're spending that entire first season just on your ass and just hurting because you're just not used to it. Second year, it starts to get fun again. Two, no poles means that any flat parts you get into, which are invariably you run into, and you're not going fast enough, you're not waxed up enough, you just slide to a stop, and you're just like, well,
that's it.
This is it.
Mm-hmm.
We're done. I'm just gonna try and hobble over now, and that's always fun. And two, moguls are not. You can't do moguls on snowboard.
So you guys are at Sundance last year. You decided to go snowboarding. I know you. You're Mr. Thrill, Mr. Adventure.
Mr. Thrill,
of some sort.
adrenaline rush.
I mean, you are, though, actually. People may not know that about you. So I can just picture you being like, hey, Justin. Hey, Justin. Let's hit a sick lick, bro. You guys go up to the
so I grew
Black
up
Diamond?
So I grew up in Seattle, which means luckily what is considered like an okay, like Snoqualmie Pass was like the okay, crappy like snow place, is better than anything on the East Coast. West Coast is just way better in terms of just terrain and things like that. So I was actually pretty good. I was like surprised. I'm like, so I started going down the hill, and I started doing that day. And I'm taking like, all right, okay, blue square, all right, not bad, still got it, still carving fresh rad tracks, and then Black Diamond, okay, got it. I was on top. I was like, yeah, I still have it. I'm rad. You know what I should do? I should hit up that park. I should do some jumps.
Oh no.
So they have like a little mini. And so Park City, they have some pretty crazy stuff, but they have a smaller one. So me and Justin go, and Justin's like, okay. And I'm like, I'm better than Justin. All right, okay. Justin's just killing these jumps. He's taking them, hopping them, doing little grabs, little indies, little what have you, lean airs, and then landing them. And I'm like, all right, I can do this. And I go off one, nail it. I'm like, yeah, this is rad. I'm just rocking this. I'm the best. I'm the best that ever was. Second jump. Okay. So when you go off a jump on a snowboard, you have to, your balance on it has to be impeccable on your exit. Because if you're tweaking in one direction, you're kind of leaning, you're kind of turning. When you're in the air, you've given that input. You can't fix that. You're just gonna continue in that direction. Okay. So you have to kind of be on your toes, and you have to kind of you do have to jump, because you jumping provides like extra force in terms of like making sure they're going straight. So you have to be on your toes. You have to jump, and when you're landing and you come into it, you want to stomp down and land it and give it and stick it. So I'm going off of this hill. And immediately I know something's wrong because I'm coming off of it, and the tendency when you're a little bit not quite confident, which I was not quite confident, you lean back a little bit. When you lean back,
that doesn't sound
good. You're starting to lean back, and then you go off. So I'm going off of my heel, which is bad because that means now I'm in the air, and I was going fast. I'm like, I'm gonna take that first one, I nailed it. Second one, I'm gonna bomb this one. I'm gonna indie grab it and just stick it.
So you're in the air.
I'm in the air, and I start to rotate backwards in the air,
and you're talking to yourself.
And
what's going through your head?
There was enough time.
Yeah, I bet it felt like slow motion.
It felt like slow motion, and there was enough time in the air for a number of thoughts to go through my head. First of all, the first thought was, "Oh shit, I went off the jump wrong." That was shot one. Thought one. Thought two. What the fuck was I thinking? Like, why did that was a very fast one. Thought two was very fast because it immediately followed and superseded by thought three, which was, this is going to hurt a lot. Because I was about 6-7 feet in the air and now totally horizontal.
Oh my God.
And then coming down. And I land on my back and my hip, just straight on. Wind, gone, knocked out of me immediately. And then I slide down like that, just lean back. And I remember actually, this is what happened. I remember sounding like this, and wanting to laugh because I sounded like ridiculous, and also being like the worst pain ever. I was like, I broke something. I absolutely broke something. This is what it feels like to break my back. Like I broke my neck. I broke my spine. Like absolutely. There's no way that I haven't. And I was on there. I couldn't breathe for a bit. I finally caught my breath. And Justin, by the way, has cleared the park, nailed every jump, by the way. So, of course, shame on me for thinking that was any good and better than him. He managed to kick my ass in that park. He's at the bottom, and he looks at me. He hasn't seen me yet. He was far enough away that he was like, okay, shoot, something must happen. So he just was waiting, and I could see like a dot of him. And then I was like, okay. And I just laid there for a good 2 minutes, just trying to in just total pain. I was like, okay, I need to get back. I need to get down. I'm not going to. I feel like I felt feeling a little better. I don't think I need the guy in the snowmobile to drag me down.
How do you flag that guy down?
You have your friend go down all the way, and then they come up for you. So I'm like, okay, even if I want
that emergency response is entirely dependent upon the buddy system.
Exactly.
A functional buddy system.
A functional buddy system. Or a functional nice stranger system.
Got it.
You can't call. There's no signal up there.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, if I want to get the snowmobile guy, I have to at least get down to Justin because he doesn't know what the situation up here is. So I have to at least go down the next 200 yards to get down to him. So I get up and I cannot stand up straight. It's such stinging pain that I'm hunched over, and I just kind of go over and I have to stop every 20 seconds. Be like, oh, my guys hurt so much. I'm such an idiot. And the whole time, by the way, I'm such an idiot. What I think this is a good idea. Why would I ever want to snowboard again? What do I think I am? This is my youth. This is my hubris coming back.
You're the movie guy, and you're at Sundance, the mecca of film festivals.
And I was like, I'm going to go skiing.
There's all this rad stuff happening at the bottom of the hill, and you decide to strap on a snowboard and go to the top.
And rent a snowboard, go to the top. I slide down to him. It's bad. And I was like, it took us a good 30 minutes to get down, just slowly, bit at a time. And I was just in total pain. I can't stand up straight. I'm convinced for the next 2 weeks, it's crazy painful. but there wasn't any swelling and so and all that. And
What was it?
I think it just hit really really hard. There was no swelling. I may have bruised up
Sort of deep bruise.
maybe bruised up a bone.
Yeah.
Maybe at most, but really not that. It was okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, I call my dad, and my dad's a doctor, and it's so funny because he's a doctor, he just like his assessment of the strength and resilience of the human body is so much more than most people's. Like I don't even know this, but like when you were a kid, did you go to the hospital much for like if you got sick or you need like
I was actually sick a lot as a kid. I was kind of a big wuss, not nearly as tough as my brothers. I think I just looked like a wuss because my brothers were so much tougher than I was. But no, having two younger brothers, we beat the crap out of each other as kids.
Did
we
you
were
go to the hospital?
incredibly
Non-emergency
resilient.
stuff.
Like a med point, urgent care. If you step on a nail or fall and cut something open, that kind of thing. Yeah,
I never went to the hospital.
really.
It was
Just-
because my dad would just be like, "You're fine."
You're fine.
Oh, but I cut my toe open really bad on like this door when I was a kid, like just blood everywhere. And he looked at it, he's like, "Nah, you don't need stitches."
Well, no.
Have you ever got stitches for anything?
Yes. Yeah.
Never have gotten stitches.
Well, that was. I've told that story before.
That's
I
true,
got
yeah.
hit in the head with a baseball bat once.
Jimmy threw a brick at my head once, and I was bleeding. Didn't
That
get stitches
sounds
for
awful.
But yeah, my point is the way that my dad looks at the body. He's like, "Your body, you can heal up. You're fine.
You're
like,
fine."
It's crazy how much damage you can take and be fine." And
That's
so,
that's how my parents were. When they raised us, we only had to go somewhere if it were serious and something were bleeding
And
out.
to be fair, but the thing is, he had like the depth of medical knowledge to back him up. So it's just be like, "Dude, should we go to the hospital?" He's like, "You
No.
kidding?" So I called him. My dad fell down. He's like, "Is it swelled? Is it swollen?" I'm like, a little bit. He's like, "Put some ice on it. You'll be fine." I was like, "I can't like get up and walk." He's like, "Take 2 Tylenol. Put some ice on it. You'll be fine."
Yeah, that's great. Tough love. I like that.
That was it. And of course, usually, he's right. But that was my ski story. And I hurt so bad for like 2 weeks after that. I was such an idiot.
Oh my god.
So anyway, don't
that
be
sounds
an
awful.
idiot.
So if you're gonna go to Sundance,
Stay indoors. That's my
go see
tip.
a movie,
Go see a fantastic movie at Sundance.
or maybe a really crappy movie.
No, it's
I've
only
been reading
crappy
it. There's a
movies.
lot of good stuff there this year.
Yeah, what are you excited for?
I was just reading some reviews about Nightmare.
What is that?
I believe it's called. It is a documentary by the same gentleman who made Room 237 about Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
Have you seen? Oh, someone pointed this out the other day. But have you seen the video of someone doing Room 237 to Pitch Perfect?
No,
So
that
they
sounds incredible.
So they take Pitch Perfect and they're like, and it just goes on. It's like the first dance,
Mhm.
airline uniforms. Is Anna Kendrick making a movie about
Oh
9/11?
gosh, no, that
This is a
sounds
joke. It's a
miserable.
joke.
Yeah.
But then it goes like, notice the next scene. 11 dancers. Like it just
Yeah.
goes all the way through it. This is like super deadpan. But
Anyway, the Nightmare sounds. You should take a
What
look
is
at
it?
this.
What is
It is a documentary about sleep paralysis by the guy who did Room 237, which is really interesting if you kind of get what that guy is actually doing with that movie.
yeah.
And he recreates all of these people's horrible nightmares.
Oh,
And apparently, it is the most terrifying movie of the year.
Especially for the people who told him about their
Yeah,
nightmares,
probably.
right?
That sounds really great. Yeah. I know Eli Roth has a horror film that just got picked up by Lionsgate, starring Keanu Reeves. Apparently,
Keanu Reeves making that comeback.
I know. I
man.
guess it's Keanu Reeves is home alone, and 2 single ladies show up on his doorstep. He lets them in.
To be fair, usual Friday in the life of Keanu
It's-
Reeves.
That's a Keanu Reeves Friday.
yeah. They call him
And
a.
I guess they come in and weird stuff happens. That sounds interesting.
Does it sound interesting? Deb?
Keanu
It sounds
Reeves,
pretty boring.
2 single ladies. Well, the way I pitched it, yeah, I don't think that movie's getting the green light, but I guess it's pretty good.
Okay.
What else is coming out of the festival this year?
I don't know. I've not followed any of it at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe there's not that much coming out.
It was
this
a different time because Sundance was a place where indie film was going. This is where you would go to get
That was
discovered.
the mode, right? Remember Easy Riders, Raging Bulls, Mike DeLuca era,
What was that era? The 90s
Tarantino,
Tarantino,
Kevin Smith,
Yeah.
making movies with credit cards. That's not the way things
not how
are
it's
done
done
nowadays.
anymore. No, not
you
at
know.
all. Sundance was like the mecca for indie filmmakers, and to an extent it still is, but it's become so corporatized. Like last time we were there, it was like Airbnb, come visit the Airbnb
Yeah, I feel like it's probably just
Lexus, brought to you by. And it's like this doesn't feel like a.
I got the idea last year. It was just this big corporate wank fest.
Well, they were saying people up there in Park City talking to some of the locals there. They were just like, yeah, it's just like this is just a bunch of money comes in.
the
all that
whole
happens.
festival last year was sponsored by Chase or something
Oh,
like
right,
that.
yeah,
and
that's
they're
right. It's all these Chase Bank
encouraging you use your credit cards. Use your credit cards.
yeah,
It
Well, that's
had nothing to do with movies whatsoever.
I wonder what the digital film festival will be or where that is because there's something I think I think that there's something to be said for movies to be seen in person. I think that some genres really benefit from that. Horror definitely benefits, I think, from being seen in person, or rather, you get something out of that. I think.
There's that campfire experience.
Yeah, comedy absolutely benefits from a group, and
most definitely.
Like I saw Zoolander by myself, and I was like, "This movie sucks," and I saw it with a group of friends. I'm like, "Oh,
I get it.
Actually, this movie
works.
hilarious."
I think comedy above
But what happens?
any
But
other
I wonder
genre.
what happens to that as we kind of, is it just then small groups of friends? Is it not straight? Put it this way: do we get the same effect of the group viewing experience if it's a group of 5 of our friends versus a room full of strangers? Is it, is that the same? Is that better? Is that worse? And is that, or more importantly, actually, probably the real question you should be asking is it good enough to replace what we have right now in theaters?
God, I hope so. I feel like it could be.
Did you see the interview?
I did see the interview.
I watched the interview with my parents, and
how was that experience?
Well, I'm just from hey, let's watch a movie right now, and then we all just sat down and watched the movie, and this is a movie that's in theaters. Fantastic experience, amazing experience. To be able to just be like, hey, Mom, Dad, you want to watch a movie? It was over Christmas break. I was like, yeah, okay. And I was like right there. I was like, wow, we don't have to, because we live kind of far, back in Seattle. My folks live kind of far away from theater, so it's like we have to. It's a whole thing. It's like, okay, the theater starts in an hour. We gotta go now, and it's okay, get ready. Oh, I don't want to see this movie. What's playing? What else is playing around? It's like, no, it's just a pain.
Right.
But yeah, it was pretty good, man.
I enjoyed it. I saw it over Christmas break as well. Taylor and I went to the Egyptian.
Oh, okay. So you did do the theater.
There was a special screening on Christmas Day. Right,
great.
they had announced it right after
Seattle,
the whole
good
hoopla
luck.
happened.
Yeah, Seattle ain't getting any of that.
No, that's too bad. We were lucky enough to be at a screening where Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg were there. They came out to introduce the film, and they played a little welcome message from James Franco, and they threw swag into the audience. That was kind of fun. Honestly, I enjoyed the little intro.
Yeah. Probably more than the movie.
Definitely more than the movie. I had a good time.
And the movie was just like, I feel like a lot of it's amazing to me that movie will now forever be canonized in the American film history archives because of what happened with it.
What happened? Not necessarily because of what it is, but
Which
because
must be
what
such
happened.
a strange feeling for the people who made it, where it's just like, guys, everyone's gonna remember your movie forever. In fact, in 100 years. It is basically the Great Train Robbery.
Right.
It's like this. It's Citizen. I would argue historical. It's like Citizen Kane. People are gonna remember this one because of that, less so than anything
It's
else.
so
because
bizarre.
It's such a
Just
strange,
irreverent comedy.
Yeah.
Chock full of.
I just
lowbrow
love
humor.
the idea of future film students studying the interview.
The interview
in their media studies class in college in 40 years, and be like, yes, but what are they actually trying to say? And be like, all these poop jokes are just again, that poop jokes are these immortal poop jokes.
It was nice though. That's the first movie I've seen in a theater with a group of people in a while, just because
who are there for it, right?
Who are there for it? Far too often now, I always go with the iTunes option. Stay at home, watch a movie by myself. You're missing something, and I don't know. You're right. I don't know. I'm curious
what the replacement will be.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of the group viewing experience,
I feel like you could get away with a handful of people if you're able to get that together. A lot of times we'll go to a movie and you enjoy it more just because you're with your buddies.
Watch
not
this.
necessarily
Everyone
how
listening,
everyone else is
mark this one down. For 3 years, there's gonna be an app. There's gonna be an app that's going to allow you to have impromptu screenings of stuff. You schedule it in a little bit in advance, and you just tell people that, hey, come on over. I'm watching this movie, and people can accept it. And it's a small group of it'll be vetted, so it's not just total strangers. It'll be people who are you rate each other, Uber, you rate other people in other terms. This guy's fun. This guy brings good
You can
food.
join certain circles.
You enjoy
that enjoy
and stuff like that.
Certain genres of film.
Yep, and then you open up your house in the same way that Airbnb or couch surfing opens up your house, and there's a rating system like Uber, and you can do movies and
movie parties.
People come over, they'll bring food and stuff like that. You impromptu friendship delivered to you in an app, and the app will be called
Popcorn Time. I think
Popcorn Time already exists.
I think that is an app already. Yeah,
which is fantastic if you are into piracy. It'll be called something.
That's a fun idea.
Guarantee you 3 years. Mark my words.
Or until then, you can just snap me, Freddie.
Oh, it's true.
And I'll come over.
Daz, what's your wildly unlikely prediction for the future? And wrap us up with your
my
prediction.
wildly unlikely
prediction for the future.
God, I don't know.
5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
You want me to give you an unlikely prediction?
I don't know. Just what do you think's gonna happen in the future, bro? 2020.
Good God. What is going to happen in the future?
2020. I can tell you right now what's going to happen on that one.
You know, that's
There's going to be about 1 trillion jokes made about how everyone's vision is going to be perfect in the year 2020. Get it? Get it? Get it? It's vision. It's a vision joke.
These are the jokes you can expect at the Sunday Super Bowl halftime show, co-starring Freddie the Comedian Wong.
Oh, man. Come on, give me something.
Prediction of the future? That's a good question. I don't know. I've become so self-absorbed the last couple of years working on all of these various projects. I don't even get a chance to think of the future. I'm too busy worrying about how I'm going to make it through to Friday.
Self-driving cars. You think they'll happen by then?
Self-driving cars in 5 years.
Yep. I'm going to hold you to this.
In 5 years, I feel like you will see, say, 1 or 2 self-driving cars commercially available.
Okay.
At a incredibly ridiculous price.
Okay. My prediction in 5 years, you're going to have self-parking cars, and there'll be entire parking lots where you just pull up and it auto-valets for you.
That's it? Just auto?
For now. You gotta start
well, why
somewhere.
wouldn't the car drive itself if it can park itself? Why wouldn't it just be a?
Because people are freaked
fully
out,
automated?
man, by computers and robots on the road, but they're less freaked out by a bunch of robots going around in parallel parking next to each other.
I guess I can see that.
All right.
I'm okay with self-driving cars. Let's make that happen.
I could take more naps, and that's one thing I need.
Oh,
sorely
you're
in my
right.
life.
That would be the best.
So much napping would happen. So much reading and napping would happen in self-driving cars. Everybody it'd be such a benefit.
It was
There's
so much more time, especially for
to do activities.
My God, we're in Los Angeles.
Oh my goodness.
We spend an unfair amount of time sitting in the car.
Anyway, it'll be way of the future. You heard it here, You heard it here first, folks. Thanks everybody for tuning in to a very special, personal Facerocker podcast.
So personal.
So personal. Thank you all. Thanks to Benji Dolly, podcast producer.
Thanks, Benji.
Alex, who is off this week, podcast mixmaster engineer at Point Blue Studios, and we will see you hopefully with a full cast, unless of course everyone likes this so much that they want.
They're like, oh my God, we can't get enough of you two. More of that.
More of that. Hopefully more people next week, unless you like this. But let us know. Anyway.
Snap at us.
Snap at us.
Snap us.
Rocket_jump.
Snap us your comments.
Do not snap us
critiques, and
anything
questions.
illegal. Thank you very much, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Good night.